welcome to the Giraffe Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Chloe Belchamber, and on today's episode, I'm direct messaging co-founder of Team5pm, Peter Minkjan. We'll be discussing all things YouTube, from channel management to some of Peter's top growth and optimization techniques. But first, let me introduce you to today's guest. Welcome to the podcast, Peter.
Well, thank you. Welcome.
How are you today?
I'm fine. I had a busy day. Went to a potential client and we had a strategy meeting this morning.
Always exciting.
Yeah.
And I just found out right before we started recording that you are over in Amsterdam. How is it over there?
Yeah, I'm recording this from home. That's from Utrecht, but our office is in Amsterdam. So, the weather is fine. It's already 5 p.m. over here, so a little 1 hour later than the UK. But that's the great time, of course, as a co-founder of Team5pm.
Yes, we're having a little happy hour as we record.
Yeah.
So. Right, well, to get us started on today's episode, why don't you tell us a little bit about Team5pm and how you co-founded the company?
Yeah, we started the company 3 years ago, 2018, with the four of us, and we all worked at RTL. That's it's a German media company, but pretty big in the Netherlands as well. So there's a lot of commercial television channels like Channel 4, ITV of Holland. I was responsible for social media strategy over there. So for all the TV channels, all the TV programs, like Survivor or Goede Tijden, Slechte Tijden, like the Coronation Street of the Netherlands. We all managed those on Facebook, Instagram, but we also had YouTube. And my three co-founders are working on the RTL MCN, the multi-channel network, where it's a network of YouTube channels with influencers working together for brands and all kinds of stuff. And then we found out, a lot of other publishers and brands asked us, can you help us as well with our YouTube strategy? And we found out that there wasn't a dedicated YouTube agency in the Netherlands. And then we had the opportunity to start our own. That was 3 years ago with the four of us. We had an office in Amsterdam Harbor with no daylight. No, really. Later on we had daylight. And we grew, and during the corona pandemic we started our own studio. So it was first only agency, but a lot of clients asked us, can you help us as well with the production of the videos? So we started our own production studio together with Frank. So he was the fifth founder or co-founder, and he worked at Animal Beyond, a big production company active worldwide. It was responsible for the YouTube activities over there. So then we grew from the four of us into now 80 people. So
wow.
Yeah, so pretty big growth, and we don't only help Dutch clients, but we have international clients as well.
Wow, how impressive. Good for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. And then we got a question a lot, where's the 5 p.m. coming from? When we started, there was just a study released that 5 p.m. was the best upload time for YouTube videos. So we found, 5 p.m. is... it's a short name, and it has some connection with YouTube. And because of our URL, of course, 5pm.com was already taken. So we took Team5pm, and first our studio had a different name, but then we found, let's merge those together into Team5pm.
I love that. I mean, we at Giraffe Social Media love other agencies with unique names, so I love that.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Well, today we're going to be talking all about YouTube and channel management. So to kick us off, why don't you talk us through how you guys are growing and optimizing channels for your clients?
Yeah, okay. First of all, what's really important for us to know is that we want to Well, our mission is to help brands and publishers to succeed at YouTube. That's of course a little bit marketing blah blah. But what we do is helping make our decisions, if possible, based on data and insights and not gut feeling or opinions. So we always start with some kind of research and how you are going to work. But what's really important to know is that if you want to optimize your content for YouTube, you have to know how the YouTube algorithm works and how they connect audiences with the right content. And I can give a lecture about the YouTube algorithm, which is 2 hours long, but really in a nutshell, the YouTube algorithm rewards content where people click on, so a high CTR, and watch for a longer period of time too, so long watch time. And if you know that, then you already know that's really important for titles and thumbnails to, because those are the gatekeepers of attention. So you have to optimize those extremely well. But what the goal of YouTube is to, of course, maximize revenue for their own, but to do that to maximize viewer satisfaction. And the way they do that is to predict which videos you want to see, and they do that based on context, so the metadata which you give to them, performance data, the watch time data, and then they personalize it. So the first step, if you want to optimize already existing content, provide as much context to YouTube as possible. So make better thumbnails so you have a higher click-through rate, but include your keywords into titles, include keywords and make a big story out of your descriptions. But what's also really important to add closed captions to your videos, so YouTube can really understand everything you say in videos. So, and based on those data, you can also optimize and see, okay, where people drop off, where they stop watching, or what kind of content they really love watching for. And double on those kinds of videos and see if you can hold attention longer in your new videos.
Mm-hmm. And I guess I guess video is kind of the front runner when it comes to content on social media platforms these days. But because YouTube is known for that longer form content, it can be a bit daunting maybe to business owners to kind of take the plunge and join the platform. But yeah. I want to know, what are the current opportunities that YouTube does present to brands?
I think there are, I already had some preparation, of course. First of all, what's really important is that and you probably heard this before, but YouTube is, after Google, the second biggest search engine in the world, or the third if you see Google Images as a separate search engine. But what's really important, that's also because people are searching for certain types of videos into YouTube, but also what's really important to know is that you see a lot of videos popping up in Google search results. And so you can also claim #1 positions with your videos in the Google search result pages. So it's really an interesting opportunity if you have put a lot of effort in your SEO optimization of your websites, and but that's already text-based. And what you see right now is that there is a competitor or a creator who's doing it on video. They outrank you because YouTube prefers, or Google prefers, YouTube videos instead of your text-based content. So to claim top spots in Google search and YouTube search is definitely a great opportunity. And a lot of SEO agencies don't focus on video. They're really text-based. So that's, I think, one of the most important opportunity to go there with how-to content. If, for instance, we work for one of the biggest oil companies in the world. It's even English, but they want to rank high on how to change motor oil, because if people are searching for it, that's the opportunity to connect with your audience when they preferably want to buy your product to use. And they think, and we agree, of course, that the best way to rank now fast is not with text, but with video and give instructions to people. So how-to videos and explainers are great to rank high in Google, but also YouTube search. A lot of people use YouTube as a how-to engine. Okay, give me instructions how to do stuff. That's great. So I think that's video SEO, YouTube SEO is a great opportunity. Next one is connected TV. If you see, we just ran an analysis of all the views of our clients in the previous 10 months. That's 1.3 billion views, and connected TV is already bigger than desktop. So 20% of all the views is on television screens, and if you add game consoles on top of that, it even goes to 22%. So I think YouTube will become a major competitor for television channels. Also with your advertising, you can make the same impact like you did with your television, but you have those. You can generate mass reach and awareness, but you have the opportunity to target much deeper and better than if you compare it with the traditional cable channels. And the third opportunity is really close to social media. They just introduced Shorts, the TikTok rival, but they're never gonna use it in that way. So the vertical short videos, like you see on Instagram and Snapchat as well. And what we see is that's really being pushed by the algorithm right now, by YouTube. And not a lot of brands capture that opportunity, but we do that for a certain clients of ours, so mostly the publishers. And we see huge results with that, not only in views and watch time, but also it's generating a lot of new subscribers. Because if you open Shorts in your YouTube app, you see the big red button below it from subscribe to my channel. And it really attracts attention. And a lot of people subscribe to the channel. And because most of the Shorts are being viewed by non-subscribers.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I mean, it sounds like there are plenty of opportunities there for brands if you know where to look. So
yeah.
In that vein, how can clients get the best work out of a YouTube management agency like Team5pm?
Well, we like to call, if you want to do YouTube marketing properly, you have to see it as a marathon and not a sprint. So it took some dedication and some time. Especially if you want to rank high with your search pages and you publish new videos. Don't expect immediate results, and that's something really important to know and to consider if you start as a client with us. We prefer to work at least for 6 months with our clients. Of course, it gives some guarantees about revenue, but also in the first 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes you don't see results right away. You have to reach a certain tipping point. You have to reach a certain point where you're starting from, and most of the brands just use their YouTube channel as a place where they put all TV commercials and nothing more. But if you start from that, it takes some time to get some views. And if you want to have immediate results, YouTube is not the best platform. If you want to have millions of reach in the upcoming 4 weeks, go to TikTok. Don't use YouTube. No, really. And that can be also a great place, of course. Or use YouTube Shorts, maybe. But if you want to work with YouTube marketing agency or want to do them yourselves, take some time. It takes a lot of time and effort. Compare it to an SEO strategy. We don't have a magic stick to give you number one rankings, most of the agencies don't have them, and the same applies to YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Well, getting into some of the nitty-gritty stuff now,
yeah.
I imagine most of our listeners have a pretty good understanding of how platforms like Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn operate when it comes to paid social.
Yeah.
But what are some of the mechanics of how YouTube ads operate?
Well, actually, YouTube ads kind of work the same like organic. Of course, you have the bidding stuff underneath it and how much you're willing to pay for a certain view. But what we see is that if you have a higher click-through rate, so if it's not in-stream but suggested videos, click-through rate really matters based on your performance. But what matters more is watch time. If an impression becomes a view, and if people tend to stay longer watching to your videos. We did a large test for a film distributor, so with all the trailers on YouTube. With the cinemas open, that's really popular again. And what you saw is that if people, you see a direct connection between if the time people watch to a certain ad and the cost per view. That's lower. And sometimes it really it takes some effort to optimize your creative, but try to test certain stuff and certain variations. It's really important if you catch people right away and then hold their attention. And that's something not considered that much by if you're coming from a social media perspective. That's the focus is really on engagement. If you have more engagement, you will get lower cost per actions. But here it's if you have more attention, you have a lower cost per view.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what does the ideal YouTube advertisement look like, if there is such a thing?
Yeah. There's such a thing, because I think it's really a three-step model, which is really easy. Because at YouTube, the perfect YouTube ad has to do three things. First, it wants to get noticed. People want to see your YouTube ad. Of course, and if you have it in stream, people can click away after 6 seconds. So then you come to the second part. It's if it holds attention, the longer the better. But it doesn't matter if it doesn't do the third thing, and that's it generates an impact on your memory. And I can promote cat videos to whole the Netherlands or the whole UK, and a lot of people are gonna watch it, and I don't have to pay that much. My cost per view is pretty low. But if nobody remembers that cat video is from the sender, which might be an insurance company, it doesn't matter. So it really has to impact memory. And that's something you can't see in your YouTube statistics as well. You can do some brand lift studies and some other stuff. But I think the impact of YouTube and the perfect YouTube ad goes beyond on views and watch time and that kind of stuff. And if you compare YouTube advertising with social media advertising, it's driving the last click performance. Facebook mostly outperforms YouTube still, but you have to compare it, I guess, with more like TV advertising, really about impacting mass audiences on their memory.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Something else I loved was what I read on your website, and that is saying that a thumbnail is like the business card of your video.
Yeah.
So how much do thumbnails affect the reach and the number of views a video receives?
Oh, that's the number one element if you want to optimize. If you don't have much time, go for thumbnails. No, really. If you can only optimize one element of your YouTube channel, your YouTube videos, go for thumbnails. So make it attractive to click, make it relevant, and connect it with the content. People can click on it, but if it's clickbait and everybody skips your video, it will harm you. But also test it. There are multiple tools out there where you can A/B test your thumbnails. We do that every time with most of our clients. It really see and go for a higher click-through rate if you can prove it. But if you have a little bit more time, go also for your titles, because it has to be a perfect marriage between your titles and your thumbnails. And I think thumbnails are really, really important, and they're underestimated by a lot of brands, because then they have branding guidelines and kind of boring thumbnails. Well, the same rules I set for video ads also applies to maybe it must get noticed by the audience, and people, okay, it must attract your eyeballs to the thumbnail to click on it, and hey, this is relevant, this is let's check out the video. So thumbnails are really important.
Yeah, I guess that's why it's so prominent in influencer culture. You get a lot of creators that have these clickbait titles with thumbnails to match.
Yeah.
The views are there.
Yeah. No, but of course, but it's only clickbait when you don't act on your promise in the thumbnail. So if you say, "Oh, this is the greatest thing I ever seen," and it's actually the greatest thing you've ever seen, it doesn't harm. But if you have a really boring video but a great thumbnail, it doesn't work. So
I guess the viewership trails off, doesn't it?
yeah, you have to have a high CTR, but also a longer watch time.
Well, speaking of numbers and like reach and viewership, how does data come into play when it comes to YouTube's algorithm? Dare I say their video recommendations are scarily accurate.
Yeah. No. Then again, how does the YouTube algorithm works? They need context, so data from where's the video about, closed captions, titles, descriptions, tags. But they even can read text and images from the thumbnails, and you can test it yourself. It's a free tool. You have the Google Cloud Vision. If you upload your image, you will see right away if they can read your text, if they can recognize certain objects. And if it's not, if it's suitable for every audience, so check out. And then you use artificial intelligence to optimize your thumbnails, so you also have a pretty story to your clients. But if it comes to data, it's really much about performance data. So the number one metric where you should look at is, I think, audience retention. So where do people drop off? But also, are there certain parts which they tend to rewind? Maybe you're not pretty clear over there. But also, if you want to do some competitor research, check out the views of your competitor, view volume, and check out what kind of, and try to see if you can find out why are those performing. Maybe it's a really short ad and then it's just a matter of budget. But sometimes, okay, why if you know that your client isn't pushing that with budget, but it tends to be recommended over and over again. Okay, try to find out what kind of audience do these kinds of videos serve, and can we have a better video, make a better video or the same video but a bit better. But and it's really important to know. YouTube and Google don't provide actual search volume on YouTube. There are certain tools who claim to do that, but they're all based on inaccurate estimations and of a Google Keyword Planner, or they use clickstream data where they collect a lot of clicks from users. And what we see is they're pretty accurate in English language, so that's good for you, but in Dutch, it's a smaller market, and other languages, sometimes you only see, okay, this has 10 search volumes, and I see a lot of views, way more views. So always try to see, okay, if I search for it, for instance, you have keywordtool.io, and they just use, it's a great tool, but they overestimate the search volume of most of their keywords. And why is that? Because if you just connect and they claim, for instance, certain keywords have 30,000 people searching for it every month. And you will search for it on YouTube and try to see, okay, the top 3 videos, are they a lot of, do they have a lot of views? If that's not the case, you can pretty sure know that the search volume isn't accurate. There's only one tool which gives insights to Google of YouTube search volume, and that's Google Trends, and then you apply to, but that's an index number, so you will only see from 0 to 100. But if you want to know, for instance, do I go for topic A or topic B, you can compare those in terms of popularity.
Okay. Let's talk about viewer research.
Yeah.
What are some of the best ways to determine the kinds of content to put out based on the wants and needs of your viewers?
I'm not sure how you pronounce it correctly in English. Incognito, if you're private browsing, yeah. If you go that and see what kind of videos are recommended on the YouTube homepage. And if you search for a certain video, what kind of other videos are recommended. But what's really gold mine is check out the comments on certain videos. What are people saying? And is something not clear? Okay, maybe you can make a video about it or comment on it if you already made a video. So what are they? How are they reacting? And if you have a lot of influencers, and maybe that's just a Dutch phenomenon, but a lot of their fans want to have the first comment first, and that kind of, you can you can skip those comments, of course. But if you have a how-to video or an explainer video about your topic, see what people are commenting on. Okay, if is it clear? Is it not clear? Maybe you can use that one. And we also use surveys to find out what people are finding. You can use it in your description. Okay, check out the survey, or you can make Google surveys, or you can make a retargeting audience of the viewers of your channel and target those with ads if they fill in the survey. That might be a great way to see. We have some clients with some kind of private community where they're pre-tested, but that's mostly for really big brands. But if you want to find out, go to Google Trends and see if there what kind of topics are popping up, or go to the Trends page on YouTube and see what kind of videos are over there, and try to see if you can check out if it's popular. Another one, which it's a tool, is Exploding Topics. It's a database of topics, and you get a free newsletter, and maybe you can apply those. It's also based on Google Trends data and search volume. So there are multiple data sources which you can use.
Sounds like there's plenty at hand, so that's really
but if, especially, well, in the smaller market, like in Dutch, it's even more than in English. But sometimes for certain queries in Dutch, queries on YouTube, German or English videos pop up, because there are not a lot of Dutch videos around that topic, and that's really a great signal. Okay, this is something interesting. Maybe we can make a Dutch video about it, but even with English videos as well. See what kind of recommendations you get, and it's really personalized and sometimes scary how accurate Google is. But the moment you know that a Netflix show will become a major hit, that's something you can put your effort on. So sometimes if you see if certain phenomenons will pick up in other channels, you can use that info as well for your own content strategy. That's also that might also be a great thing to think about.
So we know that platforms like Instagram and TikTok really value consistency when it comes to uploading.
Yeah.
How often should brands be posting on their YouTube channels?
Oh, great question. We get that a lot. It depends on the type of content and the goal you want to reach. If you have help content, so the explainers and the how-tos, there's no magic number. There's no magic uploading time like 5 p.m. or anywhere else. It's really search driven. So do you give the best answer to your audience? So and then you can easily upload 10 how-to videos in a batch. So if it's search-driven content, don't matter too much about how-tos or about a magic the uploading frequency. If you want to build community and gain viewership out of it, that's a different story, because then I think consistency is really important. And what's also really important is the number of views it gets in the first 48 hours or in the first week. And then I think if you can go for once or twice a week with a video of a minimum of 4 minutes of length. So make it a bit longer than your usual social media post. I already told you that's a matter of dedication, but this might take some effort to do that. And do it at least for 3 months. Otherwise, you won't see results and you'll already drop off. Just at the moment, you might blow up with your audiences.
And my final question for you today, Peter, is what are the YouTube trends we should all be looking out for in the future?
Already mentioned connected TV. Already mentioned YouTube Shorts, which if you fast for it, go for it. But I think the most important one is that, and YouTube is not alone in its plans, but Google's trying to make YouTube a major shopping destination. So they integrate e-commerce with video. You already saw it with their beta testing it in the US. And it's coming to Europe pretty soon, I guess. But if you have live shoppable streams, and connect your products to where people can click on it and buy it right away in videos. So I think e-commerce integration and driving direct sales with videos it's a huge opportunity in the upcoming year.
Mm-hmm. How exciting!
Yeah, and that's the same. Like TikTok has great integration with Shopify and Facebook and Instagram with the product feeds integrated. So I think even YouTube is lagging a bit behind those networks, but I think they will catch up pretty soon.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap things up, it's time for our rapid recommendations segment. This is where we find out what our guests have been loving and what they can't live without. So, Peter, I want to know what's one app or tool that you simply couldn't work without? And you can't say YouTube.
I love Ahrefs as an SEO tool. I prefer it above SEMrush, but I think, as you might already noticed, I'm not born in the UK, but Grammarly is pretty great for me.
Yes.
So I think that's pretty handy for a non-English speaking person. And I love Todoist, just a simple free to-do tool where I notice if I have some tasks.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, Grammarly is an essential for me too, so I'm glad that's on your list.
Yeah. And they advertise a lot on YouTube.
They do. Yeah. That's right.
But that's not the reason I'm using it.
My next question is, who is one brand or persona that you think is getting social right at the moment?
Ooh, a Dutch example, which I really love, is Coolblue. I'm not sure it's active worldwide, but it's one of the biggest e-commerce sites in the Netherlands, and they really focus on customer satisfaction. They do everything for a smile, but what they do is really, and it's not a client of ours, I wish, but they already have 10 years a YouTube channel, and they really help people with product reviews. And so it's about dedication, but they also make, should I pick product E or product B? And they make comparisons of it. So they're in it for a long time, and they use their own employees as the faces of their channel. So they're really the product specialists. And I think they are doing it right because it really totally aligns with their mission with focus on customer satisfaction. And I think YouTube can be a great way to help your customers and satisfy them.
Mm-hmm. You never know, they could be listening. You might be able to poach them as a client of yours.
I already wrote a blog post about it in Dutch, and I know because I have LinkedIn Premium, more than 200 people of Coolblue saw my post about it. So I guess they know this, but they're really doing a lot of them themselves. But I wish I could work for them, but they're already doing a lot of stuff right. So maybe we can focus better on other clients.
Totally. Yeah. And finally, what is one valuable resource, event, or group that you think our listeners should know about? If it goes to YouTube marketing, there's one Irish guy or bloke, if you call him, Paddy Galloway. He shares great videos about successful YouTube creators on YouTube. I really love him, or
well, at least his content. And he's also sharing a lot of insightful tips on Twitter. So if you want to know more about the secret of successful YouTube creators, go for Paddy Galloway.
Amazing, thank you. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Okay, no problem. I'm all thrilled, and I can talk for hours about YouTube marketing, but I think we should finish it.
If the listeners enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, or give us a follow if you're listening on Spotify. We would love to hear what you thought about today's interview, so make sure you reach out on social media and let us know what you thought. We've been Giraffe Social Media. You've been amazing. We'll see you next time.